This is the site of Marilyn Monroe's crypt. This is the calm before the storm. There aren't many flowers here, obviously, today. There are lots of lipstick prints and, for some reason, coins, pennies, quarters, left on her gravesite by fans. On August the 5th, the 50th anniversary of Marilyn Monroe's death, there will be many people here to commemorate her life and remember her death. This is a small cemetery in West Los Angeles. Near Marilyn Monroe is the great producer Ross Hunter and his friend Jacques Mapes. The cemetery is very quiet today. Across the way are many other celebrities, but none attract the kind of attention that Marilyn Monroe does. In this area here, you will see Natalie Wood's grave, Robert Crane, Minnie Riperton, one of the Beach Boys, I believe it's Dennis, Dorothy Stratton, the Playboy model who was killed by her boyfriend, and many others. We're taking a trip down here now. Oh, across the way is the chapel at Marilyn Monroe, where her funeral was held in 1962, in August of 1962, and this is where the memorial service will be held on August the 5th, which is expecting an overflow crowd to converge upon this cemetery from all over the world. And around the corner here, on the opposite side of the bank of crypts from Marilyn Monroe's grave, is Heather O'Rourke, the little girl from Poltergeist who died in 1988. She was only 13 years old. And here we have Truman Capote, who died in 1984. And across the way here we have other noted celebrities and entertainers. This is Mel Torme's grave. Music, the greatest good that mortals know, and all of heaven we have below. The Westwood Cemetery is surrounded by very high buildings, as you can see. It's a very small place which was virtually unknown, and after Marilyn Monroe was buried here, it became very well known, and of course the property value went up, skyrocketed really high. Some of the burial spots here sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Here we have Lady Rowlands, John Cassavetes, her son, who died in 1989 at the age of 60. Of course, he was married to Jenna Rowlands, the great actress. This is Ava Gabor of Green Acres, our darling Ava. We love you, you are in our hearts forever. Date of her death was July 4th, 1995. And this is the Arm & Hammer family. Of course, they have a big crypt. And there are, of course, lots of others. We'll go back across here this way. This is something new, I'm not sure. It hasn't been inscribed yet, but it looks like a very nice setup for a memorial. And we'll go over here now. I think I remember where some of the graves are that are sought out. This place has actually become a tourist attraction, and they don't allow the buses, the tour buses, to come in here, but sometimes they will park outside the property, and the tourists will come in there. You can see in the distance the Mormon Tabernacle on Santa Monica Boulevard. Here we have Natalie Wood's grave. Beloved daughter, sister, wife, mother, and friend. Natalie died in 1981. And there are also pennies and coins on her grave. And down here we have Robert Crane, who was the star of Hogan's Heroes. There's a picture of him on here and his wife. Hogan and Hilda together forever, it says. And there are many others. I don't know exactly where to find all of the small ones here, but now I'm going to go across to the other side. There you can see the little chapel where Marilyn Monroe's funeral was held in 1962. Joe DiMaggio took charge of her funeral. He barred many of the people in her life, like Frank Sinatra and the Kennedys, and many very famous, notable people actually showed up here for her funeral, but they were turned away by Joe DiMaggio. There were very few people, and I believe everybody who attended her funeral at that time is now also deceased. This area is like a garden setting. This is a headstone that is for Rodney Dangerfield, and all it says on there is "There goes the neighborhood," which is something you might expect from someone as funny as Rodney Dangerfield. It's a very beautiful day here in Westwood Park. Birds are singing. Very elegant and classy. Everything is extremely well kept. This is Farrah Fawcett's crypt, or her grave, I should say. That's her headstone. All it says is Farrah Fawcett. It has no date on it, just her name. And next door to Farrah Fawcett is Merv Griffin. Merv Griffin left us also with his typical sense of humor. He's got his name and says, "I will not be right back after this message." Merv Griffin died in August of 2007, almost 5 years ago. It's amazing how fast the time goes, because I remember Merv Griffin's funeral, and this is a walk-in garden here with a pagoda. This is the grave of Walter Matthau and his wife. Walter Matthau died in 2000 and his wife died in 2003. The great actor Walter Matthau of Hello Dolly, The Odd Couple. And this is the son of Kirk Douglas Eric, who died tragically at very young. I think he was like 46. Eric Douglas died in 2004. It's very beautiful here. They keep adding crypts. Everything is like a garden setting. Some people have very beautiful private gardens for their families, such as this one. I don't know if you can see, but there's a waterfall in the back area. Gorgeous. And across the way you can see some of the high buildings that surround the cemetery. It's actually very small. And this is the grave site of the Kirkabys, Arnold and Carlotta, who owned it's called the Beverly Hillbillies house, where they filmed the Beverly Hillbillies. That was the Kirkaby estate in Bel Air. I'm not sure if there's anyone in here that I know, but I'll give you a little view. There's the top of the chapel where Marilyn's funeral was held in 1962, and there you can get a better view of how the grounds are surrounded by tall buildings on Wilshire Boulevard. This cemetery is on Glendon Avenue and Wilshire Boulevard. Once again, we're approaching the chapel where Marilyn Monroe's 50th death anniversary will be memorialized on August 5th, 2012. It's actually very beautiful to look at, and it's very beautifully kept. The whole area is like a garden, and it's I think it must be very satisfying to know that your friends and loved ones are here in this beautiful environment. It just shows great respect for them, and obviously also takes a lot of money. We're going to walk in here now. And this is a row back. You will see the grave of Jack Lemmon. It simply says "in." And next door to Jack Lemmon in this garden is Carol O'Connor, Nancy O'Connor, his wife, Hugh O'Connor, his son, who died tragically in 1995 from a drug overdose. Next to Carol O'Connor is Billy Wilder, the great director Billy Wilder, and his headstone says, "I'm a writer," but then nobody's perfect. And next over here, in a little grave that's got a fence around it, is Peter Falk, and he died in 2011, and his headstone says, "I'm not here, I'm home with Shara." That was his wife. There's a gentleman watering. Everything is extremely well kept. On this side you can see more of the high buildings that surround the cemetery. And the bank of Crypt straight ahead is the bank of Crypt where Marilyn Monroe's grave lies. What a beautiful day in Westwood it is today. This is, I believe it's July the 27th. So there are a few more days before the ceremony begins, remembering Marilyn Monroe's 50th anniversary of her departure. This is actually the site from that chapel. The whole funeral procession took this exact route around. There's a paved drive all the way around the cemetery, and her funeral procession took this route all the way around over to the bank of Crypt in front of us, where her body now lies. And you can see how the marble on the crypt is discolored from the hand oil and the lipstick prints and the constant cleaning that needs to be done by the cemetery in order to keep it from getting too marked up and destroyed. In fact, I think they have replaced the panel, the marble panel on her crypt numerous times, because people have tried to chip pieces of the crypt off as souvenirs. I don't think they actually try to open the crypt, although they may have, but they did chip off parts of the marble to the point where it actually had to be replaced. So I know Dean Martin is in here somewhere. See if I can find Dean Martin. He was one of my all-time favorite singers. Yeah, I see it now, because for some reason people leave pennies on these graves and on these crypts. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but it says Dean Martin. He died in 1995. And it says, "Everybody loves somebody sometime." That's what the bronze plaque says on Dean Martin's grave. And he always has flowers on his grave. So I guess that will end our little tour. I'll go back over to Marilyn Monroe's grave one more time and show you the bench that Marilyn Remembered Fan Club bought in her memory and placed near her grave. This is the bank of crypts containing her body, and once again you can see the discoloration on the marble face of her crypt from all the hands that have touched it, and all the lipstick prints that are there and that have been wiped off and that continue to appear there day after day. This is the bench installed here by the Marilyn Remembered Fan Club. It says, "In remembrance of Marilyn Monroe from her many fans." Very simple and a sweet gesture, so people who visit here can sit and think about whatever they think about whenever they look at Marilyn Monroe's grave. These flowers that are here today are a little wilted, but on August the 5th, this whole area will be piled and piled with flowers of all sizes, notes, memos, pictures, everything you can imagine. So I will come back on August 5th and try to interview some of the people. I'd like to get to hear from some of the people who came from the farthest away, because I understand that people are going to be traveling here from all over the world to attend this celebration of the life of Marilyn Monroe. And I would like to talk to some of them and see and understand how they feel, and what it took for them to travel this far for this ceremony, which is only going to last about an hour on August the 5th, 2012.